A wedding photo from 1905 looks normal, but in the background historians are shocked. And before continuing, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you will be notified as soon as a new video is released. Dr. Sarah Mitchell's hands trembled as she held the sepia-toned photograph under the magnifying glass. The Carnegie Library in Pittsburgh had donated boxes of historical photographs to her university, and this particular wedding photo from 1905 had caught her attention. The bride, radiant in white lace, stood beside her groom in a formal black suit. Guests surrounded them on the steps of what appeared to be a Methodist church, everyone frozen in that moment of celebration over a century ago. But something in the background made Sarah's breath catch. Behind the wedding party, partially obscured by the church's stone architecture, stood a figure that seemed oddly familiar. The person wore period-appropriate clothing, but there was something about their posture and the way they held themselves that didn't quite fit with the other wedding guests. Sarah adjusted the magnification and leaned closer. The detail was remarkably clear for a photograph of that era. Her pulse quickened as she studied the figure's face more carefully. The features were sharp and distinctive, and something about them nagged at her memory. She had seen this face before, but not in the context she would have expected. This wasn't just an unusual wedding photo. It might be evidence of something far more intriguing than a simple family celebration. Sarah's colleague, Professor James Hamilton, arrived at her office within minutes of her urgent call. A specialist in early 20th century American photography, James had extensive knowledge of Pittsburgh's prominent families from that era. His expertise would be crucial in identifying the mysterious figure. "Look at this person here," Sarah pointed to the background figure. "Something about their face seems familiar, but I can't place where I've seen it before." James studied the photograph through the magnifying glass, his expression growing more puzzled by the moment. "The photographic quality is exceptional for 1905, but that's not what's bothering me." He paused, adjusting the lens for a closer look. "This face, I know I've seen it somewhere before." After several minutes of examination, James suddenly straightened up, his face pale. "Sarah, I need to check something immediately." He rushed to his filing cabinet and pulled out a folder of historical photographs from Pittsburgh's industrial families. "Here," he said, placing another photograph beside the wedding image. "This is a formal portrait of the Whitmore family from 1898. He pointed to a young man in the family group. "That's William Whitmore, son of steel magnate Robert Whitmore." Sarah compared the two faces and felt her breath catch. The resemblance was unmistakable. They were looking at the same person, 7 years apart. Determined to solve the mystery, Sarah began investigating William Whitmore's life and death records. The Pittsburgh City Archives contained extensive documentation of the prominent Whitmore family, including birth certificates, marriage records, and obituaries from the early 1900s. What she discovered sent chills down her spine. According to official records, William Whitmore had died in a laboratory accident on March 15, 1903, more than 2 years before the wedding photograph was taken. The Pittsburgh Gazette had covered his death extensively, describing the tragic explosion in his private laboratory that had claimed the life of the brilliant young inventor and photographer. Sarah cross-referenced the wedding date with family records. The ceremony was between Margaret Whitmore and Thomas Anderson on June 15, 1905. Margaret was William's sister, and according to all documentation, he had been dead for over 2 years when this photograph was taken. She spent hours examining the death certificate, coroner's report, and newspaper accounts. Every official document confirmed the same story. William Whitmore had died in 1903 from injuries sustained in a chemical explosion in his laboratory. His funeral had been well attended, with prominent Pittsburgh families paying their respects. Yet here he was, clearly visible in a photograph from 1905, attending his sister's wedding. Either the records were wrong, or something extraordinary had occurred that allowed a dead man to appear at a family celebration 2 years after his burial. Sarah's investigation led her to contact living descendants of the Whitmore family. Through genealogical research, she located Jennifer Whitmore Chen, Margaret's great-granddaughter, living in Philadelphia. Jennifer was a retired librarian who had maintained extensive family records and photographs. "I've never seen this particular photo before," Jennifer admitted during their video call, studying the image Sarah had emailed her. "But it's definitely my great-grandmother's wedding. I recognize several family members." However, when Sarah pointed out William in the background, Jennifer's reaction was immediate and startling. "That's impossible," Jennifer whispered. "Uncle William died before I was born. but I've seen enough family photos to recognize him immediately. But he couldn't have been at this wedding, he was already dead. Jennifer disappeared from view, returning with a family Bible and several photo albums. There's something I need to check, she said, flipping through pages of family records. My great-grandmother kept meticulous records, and there are some entries that never made sense to me. After several minutes, Jennifer found what she was looking for. Here, she said, pointing to a handwritten entry dated June 1905. Great-grandmother wrote, "William was there, though we cannot speak of it. Some secrets must remain buried with the dead." Jennifer's voice dropped to a whisper. There are several cryptic references like this in her personal writings. I always thought they were just expressions of grief, but now I'm wondering if there was something more. Armed with new questions about William's death, Sarah decided to investigate the laboratory accident more thoroughly. She discovered that William's laboratory had been located in the basement of the Whitmore family mansion on Fifth Avenue, now demolished, to make way for a modern office complex. The insurance records from 1903 provided detailed information about the explosion. The fire chief's report described finding extensive chemical damage and personal effects consistent with Mr. Whitmore's presence at the time of the accident. However, one detail caught Sarah's attention. The report mentioned that the victim's remains were severely damaged by chemical burns, making positive identification challenging. Sarah found the coroner's report buried in city archives. Dr. Marcus Henley had performed the examination and had noted several unusual aspects of the case. The body had been badly burned and disfigured, but Dr. Henley had identified it as William Whitmore based on general physical characteristics, personal effects found at the scene, and the absence of any other explanation for the presence of human remains in Mr. Whitmore's private laboratory. More intriguingly, Sarah discovered that Dr. Henley had added a private note to his file. "While I have no doubt that a death occurred in this laboratory, I cannot make a positive identification with complete certainty. The family has requested immediate burial, which I have approved based on the traumatic nature of the remains." The medical examiner had harbored doubts about the identification, but had deferred to the family's wishes for a quick burial. Sarah's investigation revealed additional inconsistencies in the official story of William's death. She discovered that in the weeks following the supposed accident, several witnesses had reported seeing a man matching William's description in various locations around Pittsburgh. A hotel clerk had reported a guest who signed the register as W. Morrison, but bore a strong resemblance to William Whitmore. A train conductor remembered selling a ticket to Chicago to a man who looked remarkably like the supposedly deceased inventor. Most intriguingly, a photographer in Allegheny had mentioned a customer who had purchased expensive camera equipment just days after William's funeral. Sarah realized that the evidence was pointing toward a shocking possibility. William Whitmore hadn't died in the laboratory accident. Someone else had died in his place, and William had used the tragedy as an opportunity to disappear from his old life. But why would a wealthy young man from a prominent family choose to fake his own death? Sarah's research into William's personal life revealed potential motives. Court records showed that William had been facing a significant lawsuit from investors who claimed he had defrauded them in a failed business venture. Additionally, there were indications that he had been involved in a scandalous affair with a married woman, threatening his family's reputation. Faking his death would have allowed William to escape both legal troubles and social disgrace while protecting his family from further scandal. Sarah's investigation into the mysterious hotel guest W. Morrison led to a breakthrough. She discovered that William Morrison was a real person, a traveling photographer who had died in a railway accident in Ohio just 2 days before William Whitmore's supposed laboratory explosion. Cross-referencing newspaper reports from both Pittsburgh and Ohio, Sarah found that Morrison had been carrying identification papers and photographic equipment when he died. His body had been badly damaged in the train accident, making identification difficult. Sarah realized that William Whitmore had somehow obtained Morrison's identity papers and used them to establish a new life after faking his own death. The timing was too convenient to be coincidental. William had likely learned of Morrison's death and seen an opportunity to assume a new identity. Further investigation revealed that W. Morrison had opened a bank account in Chicago shortly after William's supposed death, depositing a substantial sum of money that matched the amount William had withdrawn from his Pittsburgh accounts in the weeks before the laboratory accident. The evidence suggested that William had carefully planned his disappearance, using Morrison's death as cover for his escape. He had arranged for someone else's body to be found in his laboratory, possibly Morrison himself, and had assumed the dead photographer's identity to start a new life in Chicago. This explained his presence at his sister's wedding. He had returned to Pittsburgh under his assumed identity to attend the ceremony, knowing that his family would recognize him, but understanding that they would never reveal his secret. Sarah arranged to meet Jennifer Whitmore Chen in person, bringing with her all the evidence she had uncovered about William's faked death and assumed identity. Jennifer listened to the full story in stunned silence, before admitting that Sarah's discoveries finally explained decades of family mysteries. There were always whispers, Jennifer confessed, stories passed down through generations about Uncle William appearing at family events after his supposed death. My grandmother used to tell stories about seeing him at her own wedding in 1923, but the family always dismissed these as grief-induced fantasies. Jennifer retrieved a locked wooden box from her closet, a family heirloom that had been passed down through generations of Whitmore women. Inside were letters, photographs, and documents that had never been shared with the public or donated to any historical society. My great-grandmother left instructions that this box should only be opened if someone discovered the truth about William, Jennifer explained. She wrote that the family had agreed to protect his secret forever, but that if his deception was ever uncovered, the full story should be told. The box contained correspondence between William and various family members, written under his assumed name of William Morrison. The letters revealed that he had maintained contact with his family throughout his assumed death, attending weddings, funerals, and other important family events while living under his false identity. One letter, dated 1920, read, "My dear Sister Margaret, I know my presence at family gatherings causes you distress, but I cannot bear to miss these precious moments. I promise that I will never endanger the family by revealing myself to outsiders." The documents in Jennifer's family box revealed the full scope of William's deception and the family's complicity in protecting his secret. William had not only assumed Morrison's identity, but had built an entire new life as a traveling photographer, ironically using the skills that had made him prominent in Pittsburgh society. Under his assumed name, William Morrison had become a successful commercial photographer, traveling throughout the Midwest and documenting America's growing industrial cities. His work had been published in national magazines, and he had even photographed several prominent political figures, all while maintaining his secret identity. The family had helped him maintain this deception for decades. They had provided him with financial support when needed, kept him informed about family events, and most importantly, never revealed his true identity to anyone outside the immediate family circle. Margaret's personal diary, included in the family collection, revealed the emotional toll of maintaining this secret. "William looked so happy at my wedding, but I could see the sadness in his eyes. He has sacrificed everything, his name, his inheritance, his place in society, to protect our family from scandal. I pray that someday he will be able to reclaim his true identity." The wedding photograph had captured one of William's secret family visits, a moment when love had overcome caution and he had positioned himself where he could be seen by the camera. It was both evidence of his continued existence and a testament to the unbreakable bonds of family loyalty that had protected his secret for over a century. Sarah faced a profound ethical decision about what to do with her discovery. She possessed proof that William Whitmore had faked his death and lived for decades under an assumed identity, deceiving not only the public, but also official government records. After extensive discussions with Jennifer and other family descendants, Sarah chose to handle the revelation with sensitivity to both historical truth and family privacy. She published her findings as an academic paper focusing on the broader phenomenon of identity fraud in early 20th century America, using William's case as an example while protecting specific family details. The wedding photograph was donated to the Pennsylvania Historical Society with a full explanation of its significance. William's assumed identity as William Morrison and his successful career as a photographer were documented and added to the historical record, finally giving him credit for decades of important photographic work. Jennifer worked with the family to establish a small scholarship fund in William's true name, supporting students studying photography and art history. "Uncle William spent his life hiding from his mistakes," she explained. "But his talent and his love for his family deserve to be remembered and celebrated." The photograph now serves as a reminder that sometimes the most extraordinary family stories are hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right person to notice the details that everyone else had overlooked. William Whitmore's secret had been preserved for over a century through the love and loyalty of a family who understood that protecting someone you care about sometimes requires making difficult choices. Sarah's $5 estate sale discovery had revealed not just a photographic mystery, but a deeply human story about redemption, sacrifice, and the enduring power of family bonds that transcend even death and deception.